All right, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Flow Hive. There's become a major used Flow Hive market. I have bought many of them used, and I want to show you things to look for when you are buying a used Flow Hive. Number one is it needs to be a Flow Hive. I can't tell you how many people tell me they bought a Flow Hive and they've bought a variant, something more like an auto flow is what they're called. Those are not Flow Hives. There'll be a few signature things about the Flow Hive that you'll know it's Flow. Their moniker on the top roof here, they have a very distinct boxes. So there are little things that will give away the fact that it is a true Flow Hive. But assuming it is, I'm going to go ahead and take you through it. Things that you need to look for, things that you cannot go without when you're buying them used. New, depending on which model you get, can go from anywhere from around $800 or $900 to 12, just kind of depending on what you're doing, all the features that you can get. Just for the record, I love Flow Hive. This is what I run at home. I live in suburbia here, so I can't really have a huge bee yard with traditional, 50, 60, 70 hives. We run 4 to 6 Flow Hives in a year. So this is one here. This is usually one that I use as a model. So number one, the roof. And what you're looking for on the roof is that everything comes together. It is all one piece. If they're painted, even better, repaint them if needed, but you're going to need your roof. And the Flow Hive roof is very unique to Flow. It will have its moniker. So this is the Flow Hive roof. Definitely going to be needed. It should come with a lid. The lid will have a cap, or should come with a cap. I don't really run mine with caps, so I may have bought it like this without one. You want to refrain from painting this in the inside. If you do, just do one side. You can just stain one side. But in reality, the bees will be touching this, so having it unpainted is totally fine and it will be out of the element. So it needs this inner lid here. Now, for your Flow box, this is where you're going to keep all your Flow frames, or your super, as I'll refer to it as. This will have 6 or 7 frames, depending on which model you get. The frames need to be intact, fully functional. You know that they are intact just kind of by looking at them. You can see this actually should be more towards the middle, but they're made very well. They need to have this top lid piece, and the bottom as well has, of course, this guy's going to give me trouble to take out, but the bottom cap needs to be there. This top part here is where the flow key will go into, so it's important this is capped off. You don't want anything going in there, getting this almost in. Again, it should have 6 or 7 in the super. You shouldn't have any gaps. So if you have a 7 frame, which would be equivalent to the Langstroth's 10 frame, then it should be 7 going across top. There should be no visible gaps. These guys will cover the entirety of the box. Okay, so there's that. I can do an entire video on just these guys, how long they last, things to look for as they start to go, but I don't have that kind of time right now. So I want to talk more about these guys. Now, once you get into the boxes themselves, build quality honestly is everything. I can show you some things I already don't like about this one. Any physical gaps that you can see are a huge no-no. Okay. The inner, these are an absolute must. If they don't have this inner liner, this plastic inner liner here in the super, don't buy it. You will have a lot of trouble trying to find a replacement for that if not going through Flow. And I've had gotten Flow part replacements. They are excellent. Their customer service is second to none. But you're not going to just like jimmy rig some stuff together and make this work. So if it doesn't have these on both sides, do not buy it. If it doesn't have these plastic liners here on each side, do not get it. It'll be just too hard to make that happen, honestly, for the average person. If you're super handy, you'll probably be able to pull it off, but I don't recommend it. Now, This part here in the back, it's its own separate little piece. Let me turn this box around. Again, if it doesn't have this, don't buy it. It would just be really tough, unless you're like really into good carpentry, to really get this guy perfect and have it fit in there and it not come for flow. Probably just be finicky. This is another piece here. This screw needs to have a spring between the wood and the screw. Make sure that's there. And that it functions and rotates. This is another third piece. This is going to be your door, and this needs to be able to pop on and off fairly easily. Right now I'm having a hard time because this thing was painted recently. So let's see if we can't break that paint up just a little bit to get this guy off. There we go. So you can see the paint breaking there. Now this piece should be on there. Again, a lot of their newer models all have the Flow emblem on the handles there, but that's not to say that it's not a Flow if it doesn't have that. But the newer models should have that. Now, again, so that's a few pieces that you need to look out for. This needs to be in its entirety if you're going to be purchasing it. Unless you've had many Flow Hives, if you don't know and you don't know how these pieces need to go, don't do it. If you have many Flow Hives or you've had a Flow Hive and you know how those need to go, maybe you can have a carpenter pull it off for you. It may work. Now, it should come with the queen excluder. This is standard. These queen excluders, some like them, some hate them. Some call them honey excluders. Whatever it needs to come with it. You will need one down the road at some point. I run mine with them, to be honest with you. I've had a couple of them, including the metal ones. And it should come with frames. So depending on the size of your box, you'll have 8 or 10 of these guys in there. These are the standard frames. One thing I do notice is I've seen these put together upside down. The ruler part needs to be going towards the inner of the frame, if that makes any sense. So the ruler part down, facing the inner of the frame. Okay, I've seen these put together upside down. I don't know how it happens, but I've seen that. The frame is pretty much useless if you do that. I wouldn't use it. I shouldn't say it's useless. I just wouldn't use it. I guess you could function. One thing it doesn't come with that I do is I do checkerboard my frames only when I first get the hive. So I will checkerboard. If you run all inners like this, without a lot of management, you're going to get a lot of cross comb. At least that's been my experience. But these things are cheap. I think they're like $3 each on Amazon or something. I use Acorn Bees. I love their product, but you can do whatever you want. But again, I recommend checkerboarding. Now, the brood box. This is something important. Now, the box is all put together. It should be super squared off, all that good stuff. Again, you should have 8 to 10 frames in here. But you need to be paying attention to all the corners. The corners in all these guys need to be in pristine condition. This is where somebody will get in with their hive tool and they'll start to really beat on these corners. And if you see these corners chipped away and all bent, I would probably refrain from it because your brood box has a limited time. Now, unless you're getting it for a steal, you can get these. They cost about $80 or so from Flow, or you can just use a regular Langstroth one. Again, they're pretty universal. I like keeping all my Flow stuff as Flow personally. I just love the brand like that. But that's something to look for, and you see it a lot of times on the brood box corners, because when you're doing a hive inspection, this is where you're breaking that. So if you're going to avoid that, the best way, honestly, is to use their new system, which is what I do, and that way that just avoids the hive tool to break these boxes just in general. But just being careful, being more patient, not cranking down, really getting on all four and breaking that propolis, that's going to be the key to there. Here's something I don't really like. I don't know if you can see how this is like jagged, and don't really know how that happened. It could be moths. I purchased this unit used. I could see it does have some moth damage here, so that's probably what this is here. Super chewed up would actually be rats, but I can tell this here is probably going to make a good enough contact, and then the bees will put propolis and be able to use that. The bottom screen board, it needs to have this metal screen. I don't know if I purchased without it. I'm sure you can get something like this from Flow. I'm sure Flow would sell it separately to you if needed. But so maybe that's not a deal breaker, but you definitely want to run it. I love it. I love having the screen bottom board. It's an absolute must. And then this is the Flow stand here. This one does have the catcher for the ants. This is just the way I purchased it. That's kind of how you want it. Let me turn this around here so you can get a really good idea of. So you're going to want this here. This is going to have the level on it. This is to make sure that you're sitting level. This needs to be here. Again, another piece I wouldn't buy with if it didn't have it. I wouldn't try to make this up. You're going to need this for leveling your Flow Hive so that way the flow goes correctly. The bottom tray is your catch. Oh, this is your catch. This can be purchased separately from Flow. I wish it came with two. This is where you put oil in off your catch. Again, maybe not a deal breaker, but you want to make sure it has it. If they have these pieces that come off separately, you just need to know they need to come with it. And this is, you can kind of see from my video kind of where they go. But you'll know that with Flow, the level up means airflow. This means cut off air. But that's, again, more kind of getting into functionality in this. So after that, that's pretty much it. There's really nothing to look about the stand. I would just make sure all the legs function. Actually, there is one thing. So your landing board. I don't know why I always see stripped out or messed up landing boards. You need to make sure that the landing board is in good condition, or at least it's just sucked up. And then you could paint, and that will kind of put it back into place. I think maybe people try picking it up from the landing board. I don't know how it happens, but this landing board is usually broken, and then the wood is split. So you really want to look around for any split wood, especially anywhere they put the screws in. If they use the drill gun to do this, you'll see it very often, especially the mechanics. The more handy the person, the more impatient a lot of times, and they'll just go and split this wood. They'll put that drill on high and just go right through this. The cedar is very, very, very soft wood. So definitely go through here. A lot of times, though, it's hidden with paint. They'll paint it to hide that crack. If it's visibly seen through the paint, that crack is huge. Okay, so that's something to look out for. And that's going to be everywhere that there's screws. You really want to ensure that there's no splits in the wood at all. This will going to cause major issues for you down the road, mostly moisture issues. And no, you can't really seal it. I know, unless you're really handy with wood, sealing it with a wood sealer is very tough. So I just went through the Flow Hive with you. This is things that you need to look for when you're buying a new Flow Hive. I highly recommend them. I love them. They're what I run.